welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
Happy December. It's mid-December. What is it?
It's not quite mid-December.
Midwinter, what? There's a song. What is it? There's a carol. Something about the midwinter something.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's an old one.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy mid-December. We hope you guys are doing well. My little snowman, my little Santa has a cat hair on it. Oh, here's another one.
Oh my.
So Beth's going first?
Yes, I'll go first.
Okay.
I haven't worked at all on my December WIP-GO projects. I figure I have until like the 10th to start on them. But I have been working on other stuff that I wanted to do for December. I had some ambitious plans for various things I was going to do, and like I was going to do a cross-stitch thing for my brother-in-law. I think I had mentioned that before, the nothing, not everything counts thing. And I did like this much of a start on it for Thanksgiving, and then I haven't worked on it since then. So I went and bought him something instead. So, you know. But so what I have been working on is the December Rabbit. I got a good start on that. Let me see if I've got this up right. I think like this. So I've got part of one rabbit here and part of another one here. I think this one is complete. Yeah. And then part of one here, and this little leaf is the corner. So there's some, I guess, red holly berries or whatever that go next to that. And I haven't worked on it since. I think I worked on it the 1st and maybe the 2nd of December, something like that. But so that's December Rabbit by Ink Circles. And then the other thing I worked on was another thing I should say is this. This is from the December 2020. Just Crossstitch magazine. I did a snowman last year, and I still have it in my Christmas bag. But anyway, so this is Gnome for the Holidays. It was another companion piece, basically, that went through it with it. And I'm almost finished with this. I just have there's a
cute
in the little frame around it, the little border around it is like green, and it's supposed to be like white cryonic, but I'm using white etoile instead. So it's just a little bit sparkly. As you move it around in the light, you'll see the little sparkles. But
oh, that's nice. Come here, Rogue.
So this is it's 1 over
It's
1,
really little.
I guess, yeah, on 22 count Hardinger. It's like 8 of Hardinger. And so I'm using 2 threads for the border and for the back stitching of the words here that says Gnome for the Holidays. But for the gnome itself, I use just 1 thread. And so it's all, like I said, all but done. I just have to do the border, and it'll be finished. And that's what I'm going to be working on today. But then also, I started this, and I'm thinking about giving this, the reason I started this was because I wanted to give it to my nephew Rob's girlfriend, Peyton, she joined us for Thanksgiving. And so I thought, you know, it shouldn't be hard. And I wanted to do one of these smaller designs. So this one here is it's called Snow Globe Magic. You can't. I'll post a picture because you can't really see it very well. But this is Brenda Gervais' book called The Snowball, and it has 7 different winter themed things. There's like this like family portrait and one called something like photo booth fun, things like that. So it's just a bunch of little fun little this snowman family kind of thing, and it was really hard actually just choosing which one to do. But I chose Snow Globe Magic, and I'm pretty well on the way. I have
cute.
had trouble finding one of the colors, and I don't know if it's one that I don't have, which is possible. It's a DMC color, but it's like 3081 or something like that. So it's an unusual one that I haven't used often, if I've used it at all. So I don't know where it is. So I'm gonna have to either look harder, or maybe I'll just go and buy it because whatever. And so those are the three things I've been working on: just the gnome ornament, the snowball magic, and the December rabbit. And I figure I have until the 10th or whatever to start my WIP-GO stuff. But the other thing I did was I bought this at, I don't know if I got, this was in the dollar spot at Target. And it's called Here's the Plan. And it's just a basic weekly planner kind of thing. And I had been, because of WIP-GO and other things like that, I've been using this, a calendar that my health insurance had sent me, and they'll probably send me another one, I'm sure. But anyway, so I was just using this one, the one they sent me, to just write, in each square, to keep track of what I've done. And actually, I want to, toward the end of this month, one of my last updates, to do a parade of like a WIP parade, and actually a finished parade, because I finished stitching about several projects. Some of them I just have photos of because there's a few like bookmarks that I gave away or whatever. But the rest of them, I have them finished and not FFO'd, but finished. So I have all of those, but I did, not as many as some people do, but considering the fact that most of them were started and finished within, within the month that they were done or whatever, because of things like Crossstitch Camp, and because of WIP-GO, and because of other little things like that. That I was able to finish a little bit more, but so I got this little planner thing, because it was cheap. It was like $3, and it has pretty good sized little slots to put the project in or whatever. So I'm trying to be a little more organized about my stuff, because it doesn't do me any good to. I have like a bazillion like blank book kind of things, and I've always been very lazy about doing stuff like that. But with the days of the week or whatever, I'm a little more disciplined about it. I can be a little more disciplined about it. So anyway, that is me.
That's you?
That's me.
Who's going next? Are you going next, or shall I?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
right now I'm in the process of making a scissor fob. Should I finish it? You'll see a picture right here. But I'm doing that because I haven't gotten a lot of cross stitch done this week. I don't know what I've been doing, but it hasn't been cross stitch. So I worked on I FFO'd my
nice.
sewing bee pin pillow.
That's pretty cool.
I saw the
Erica Michaels.
I saw it sitting
And
here
I had-
waiting to be done, but
I had some.
little
Oh.
scissors, and the back of the fabric back has like sewing.
A
stuff on
while
it.
back I picked up on the Daily Deal from Missouri Star.
Oh yeah.
Those.
That is beautiful. Look how nice it's finished.
I know. Like I said, I saw the.
I had to put the trim around because apparently I've forgotten how to hand sew.
Oh no.
I saw this the cross stitch piece sitting out here on the table,
Yeah.
but wasn't finished, so I hadn't seen this finished
beautiful.
product
Finish
yet.
it this
Yeah.
afternoon.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's really
I
cool.
like the way it came out.
That's so cute.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah.
It's very
It's very
cute.
fat. So, I'll put it here now. And I've been working on my Christmas tree gnome. Not diligently, but, you know, gotten in there some. This part up here will bend over.
Don't you put a bendy thing in it? Pipe cleaner?
A pipe cleaner
I
inside.
see. Mm-hmm.
So,
And it'll look like that.
And like this.
I did find some smaller jingle bells, which makes me very happy.
Oh, that's good.
So my first December WIP-GO project is now the other versions of this, the spring, the summer, fall, and winter, the printout is in there and it fits perfectly. When I try to stick this one in there,
It gets all munched.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh.
But
go ahead.
this is Art Deco Spring cross stitching for fun, and I am stitching it on 28 count even weave, which I dyed myself, and I have gotten actually quite a bit further than I thought, and I think that that's because I'm enjoying working on this, and so that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But working on this takes a long time because, and this is true for all of the cross stitching for fun patterns that I've had. There's so many DMC threads in this that it's more than one page when it prints out.
And then you have to decipher and find
And
it.
so
all that.
when I kitted it up, I had them all in that bag, but you know, it's been a minute. And so I've used them on other projects, and now I have to go track down which project it's in. And so quite a bit of my time is taken up looking for them. But I am on the outer ring. This is a beetle. So he's almost done. I've been doing the back stitch as I go.
Yeah.
So because it doesn't look like a beetle until the back stitch is there. And I'm like, I just want to finish it and just keep going,
Yeah.
you know.
Not have to like get all the stitching done and then like, oh, got to do all the back stitch. That's so fun.
And I love the flowers that are around, the daffodils. I guess these are tulips. So that's what this other little blurb over here is. But I'm pretty pleased with the way it's looking, especially on this.
That's very
fabric.
pretty.
So
Very spring.
So I don't know that I'll finish it before I have to move on to my other WIP-GO project, but I am enjoying it, so I'm putting a lot of time into it. And then sorry for the rattling.
You're scrunching your paper back up.
Yes, I'm scrunching it back up. I have been working on the Nativity Berry by Eric Michaels.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you figured out the...
I'm going to talk about it. So here's a picture of it. And when I look at this picture, this is the larger berry that I'm doing. When I look at this picture, everything around this larger berry to me looks white.
The little squirrels and the
You mean the
snowflakes.
swirls? Yeah.
They look white. So the symbol for the white color, which is grits, is 2 lines this way. And the symbol for another color called honeysuckle is 3. But this entire time when I've looked at it, I saw that symbol as the whole thing. And even including the angels and all that. So now, when I went to go where the angel is, and by the way, somehow I stitched this off center, so it barely fits over here, but it does fit.
I was going to ask you.
It barely fits. But when I went to go where the angel is, and by the way, somehow I stitched this off center, so it barely fits over here, but it does fit. It barely fits.
I was going to ask you.
But the honeysuckle was supposed to be used on everything and the grits on the angel, and that does not make sense to me, because when I'm looking at the
Can I see
picture,
it?
that's not what it looks like to me. The honeysuckle is a very light yellow.
But there's no photo of the
No.
the angel's not in the photo.
No, but
It's
that's
right there.
definite. That's not yellow. So I'm going to do it opposite. I don't know why all of a sudden I went, those aren't the same symbols. Oh, wow. That's flesh color on the angel's hands. Oh, my gosh. That's whiskey on their head.
Oh wow.
So all of a sudden I was able to differentiate between all those symbols when the whole time I've been looking at it, I've been seeing just one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I guess I was just assuming. So, yeah, I'm about to put in an angel.
Can I see your stitching? Let's see.
So, it's interesting to see how the angel will come out
You
now
can
that
just see
The edge.
the hands there,
Yeah,
a different
Yeah.
color.
But-
Yeah.
but
I sure wish she would provide a photo of it finished flat.
but even so, that looks white. It looks white. It does
Yeah.
not look off-white, yellowish color.
Weird.
Anyway,
Do it how you like.
it doesn't matter. It's mine. I'm not turning it in for a class assignment. So that angel going to be the honeysuckle color. Except I don't have honeysuckle. The attic didn't have it, and I said, I'll just use the DMC alternative because, why not? So, is that everything I worked on?
Excuse me, I'm getting it.
Yes, that is everything I've worked on other than what we're going to show you in a minute.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm having a pattern crisis. So, in a minute we're going to talk about it, but I finished this guy this week. Isn't he cute? He is little cute. You can really see his little buttons.
Oh
This is a
yeah.
little Santa, and to go with that Santa, there's a third Santa coming. And that's for our giveaway, which we'll talk about in a moment. So I finished Hannah's sweater, as you know, last week, and I sent it to her along with a very dense loaf of cranberry bread. I overmixed it, but it still tasted good. Anyway, so I sent it to her. She got it on Monday, and I was like, send me some pictures. And I still don't have a good full-on, like, standing photo of her in the sweater, which she promised me she would send, but she didn't. But she put a very cute picture up on Instagram of her sitting at a coffee shop drinking coffee, and it says, I took a screenshot of it. I'm going to put it up here. But the words are over her face, but it's so cute. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It was a screenshot. Oh, I have to find it. Sorry, one moment. No, that's not it.
You could put it here.
I am going to put it here, but I wanted to remember what it exactly said.
Something about
And it
so
said,
grateful.
like, thankful that my mom makes my all-time favorite clothes or something like that.
Yeah.
But I did keep a. Oh no, it's not here. I thought it would be here. Anyway, I took a screenshot of it, so it was nice. It's a very cute picture of her sitting at a coffee shop, and I wish I could find it. I don't know why I can't find it in my gallery, but I will put it up. So she got it. She loved it. She also sent me a photo of her best friend trying it on, and it was like she was like half in and out of it. And so then I got messages from said best friend, my second daughter, and apparently she wants a sweater just like it. And I was like, I don't take commissions. I'm not taking commissions any longer. But I, of course, I said, fine, for you I will. I said, but I'm not promising it on a particular date. She says, I'll send you money for yarn and your time. I said, I will take yarn money, but I will not take time money because knitting is my pleasure. So we decided we're going to use the same exact yarn, that color brushed yarn, in a different colorway. So she and I went back and forth and we figured out a color. My yarn shop doesn't have it, can't get it for, what did they say? 4 to 6 weeks or something. And then it was only a maybe it'll be there. So I'm like, never mind. I'm going to order it. I hate to do that. I really like to support my local yarn shop, but I want to get it. So then I'm going to talk with her about if she wants the same kind of sleeve or different sleeve. She mentioned something about not as high a neck, so I may do a U-neck on it. I may try that. That'll be an experiment for me, making the collar of the sweater a little bit lower. But she likes the fit of the body of the sweater, so that's nice because it's the same yarn. I've got the same gauge and the same size, so I'll use the same. And then go from there. So that's my new assignment. But in the interim, I was like, I have Rachel's cape I'm working on, and I was itching. I've been itching. You know how I itch, right, for new starts. So I've been itching to make this hat for a long time, and I decided that if I can get it done by Christmas, which I probably can, I think. That's pretty involved. But this is called, I'm going to give this to Hannah as a surprise. This is called the 1898 hat. It was a free pattern by Christine Burns, Byrnes. And it's hard to see in this picture. I'll post a close-up. But it's a hat that has a double cuff around that's garter stitch, which is knitting every row. Stockinette is knit one way and purl back, so that that's what you think of as knit, like this, or like the sweater, where you knit all the V stitches show. And garter stitch is knitting every row and you turn it back and forth, and so it winds up being very bumpy. I'm going to put an up close picture of this. This is garter stitch. This is the beginning of the hat, and what you do is I knit one way and then I turn it around and I knit back, and that creates this sort of squishy texture. And then you'll see this ridge in the center. This is on the wrong side. I slip 3 stitches here, and on the right side I knit those stitches, and so it creates a natural fold. So you'll see how it just wants to fold over. Mm-hmm. And so what this is, and this is a provisional cast on, and I did this in waste yarn, and then I knit the actual yarn for the hat into this this edge here, and that creates live stitches. So when I'm done with, this is just the hat band. When I'm done with it, I'm going to bring it around, and then I'm going to join it here, so it'll be seamless. And this is the back. So what this is, if it's hard to understand, but this is the very back of the head, and this is the right ear. So it's going to cover, it's going to be like this over her ear. It comes down over the ear, and then you make the crown on top. So what you do is once you finish the band, you fold it. So here's the band I'm working on, and see it has increases and decreases, so it creates that ear flap. And then because of that center slip stitching, it just wants to fold over. So you fold it like this, and once you get it all done, you pick up stitches along this folded edge, and then in the round, and then you knit the top of the hat. So this, I figured, will keep her very warm in cold Boston in the beginning of the year, January, February. And this yarn is mine. I made this yarn. I have this ball, and I have this one. It's very dark. It starts out kind of very brown and then goes very light tan. and this one was a little bit more even. So I started the band with this. I may make the band with that and then pick up this and use this lighter color for the top, or I don't know, we'll see. But this is hand spun by me. It's from the mystery mix at the farm up in Prescott called Ranch of the Oaks. Is that right? I think that's right. And it's basically all of their animals, which is sheep and lots of alpaca, and it's a good mix. It's kind of like their mill ends, and they put it all together in roving, and then you spin it. So it's mostly alpaca, but it has sheep in there to give it some spring and some sturdiness, because alpaca has really nice drape, but it also doesn't have a lot of spring to it. So I'm hoping that the wool content in here will keep the headband from getting too loosey-goosey. So I just started this. I've always wanted to make this hat. I've never made it before, and I've heard about it, and I thought this double garter stitch cuff would be nice and warm. So it, you know. And what else? I think that's all I've done this week. Because I was like, I'm done with the sweater. And I knew I had to make these Santas. So I made this guy. I knew I had to make the Santas, so I started that. Because I literally wander, when I finish a big project, and I wander around the house. Like, I know I need to work on Rachel's cape, and I know I need to work on my symphony shawl, which I have worked a little bit on it. I didn't bring it today. I forgot it. But that's coming along. And I worked on this little Santa guy, and then I started this hat. But that's me. Like, I finish a big project, I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm gonna segue into our giveaway.
Wait, before I meant to talk about this.
Oh, P.S. This is a P.S. Postscript from Beth.
This weekend was this past weekend was the Jingle Ball, and which is an online stitching retreat, basically. But there was like a main room. There was a lot of shopping. There were a lot of different stitching tables that you could go to. It was basically Zoom for the stitching tables and all that. But so I went a little crazy shopping, and this is only part of it, because the rest of them are still on my computer. I haven't printed off because the ink was running low. But so I have several. 3 or 4. I think last week I talked about freebies from the Blue Flower. Mm-hmm. But so I bought this one. This is Winter Quail. It's just a pretty quail. I think it's wearing a little shawl.
Oh, or
looks
something.
like, yeah,
a scarf.
Yeah. And then this one, which is Tudor. She has a bunch of these Tudor things, Tudor hearts and stuff like that. But this is Tudor. I can't say that. Tudor, that's right. Yeah, ermine. It's a little ermine, little white weasel, basically.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
And then this one is Cozy Christmas Cat. This is a little kitty in a sweater.
Nice.
And then this, I have a couple of tiny modernist pieces here. Let me get them both here. So, this one is a mystery stitch-a-long, but what I have is all the sections, I guess, because this is the actual as of part 3. So it's basically like a snow globe thing with various Christmas things. There's a penguin here. There's a snowman. There's a reindeer, a polar bear. I think this is a nutcracker. Looks like. Anyway, so it's very cute. There's the tiny modernist, and this is a mystery SAL, and this is just part 1. So you get this middle section here that says Merry.
It's time of the
year.
Time
of the year, yeah. And then it has.
So it'll say it's the most wonderful time of the year or something.
Yeah. So this is very cute with a reindeer and all that, and seems pretty simple. And this one. After I got it and I was printing it off, I'm like, do I already have this one?
Oh no.
Because this is one that I had been thinking about, so I don't know if I I really wanted it, so I don't know if I finally bought it. But it's called Santa's Young Buck.
I don't think I've
So
ever
it's
seen
Santa
that.
Claus with this little baby reindeer over here. And there's a little snowman hanging off of this tree. And so that's why I was thinking, I don't know if I, because I think I might have like looked at it several times. And so, considering whether I wanted to buy it, considering whether or not I was going to buy it. And I don't know if I finally did. So I might already have this somewhere in my stash. I don't know. But then this is a new one. This is an exclusive. So some of these designs were exclusives for the Jingle Ball. So as was this one. This is another, that one, Santa's Young Buck, was a Teresa Kogut design, and so is this one. This is a exclusive for the ball. So this is one with a little stacked deer, and it's called Feed the Deer. And there's a woman there feeding the reindeer.
Aww.
Or with the deer. Not reindeer necessarily, but just
Cute.
deer. They're so cute. And then this is from Lindy Stitches, and I don't know if this was exclusive to the ball or not, but it's called Reindeer Games.
Get down.
I think it is, yeah. There's a reindeer, and there's a kitty and a dog and a pig, and they're all wearing the little antlers. But on the reindeer's back, and there's a mouse down here. A little mouse. So it's very cute. And then this one is also a Jingle Ball exclusive called Coulter the Fox. And this was by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery.
That's cute.
And I actually ordered a needle minder for them. I just got an email today saying that it's on its way. And then I had, like I said, about 6 more patterns, I think, that are on the computer that I haven't printed off yet. So, lots of. And I was one of them. I don't know if it's Misty Purcell with Luminous Fiber Arts, or Tracy Horner with ink circles. One of those two is in Prescott. Yeah, I was all like, oh yeah,
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was looking on here to see if it was Tracy Horner, because here's the ink circles thing, but it doesn't have it.
Does it say?
It doesn't say on here
wow.
her address, but
That's cool.
yeah. So I was like, oh yeah.
Prescott is a small town about 1.5 hours north from here. The farm where this came from.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about our giveaway.
Yes.
So, Christmas, the episode that will air on Christmas Day will be our 100th episode. So we're doing a 3-part giveaway. You can enter that giveaway by using our keywords, which we have explained in the last 2 videos. We'll explain it again right now. And I believe it's the 21st is the last day for you to comment on any one of these videos using the keyword, or one keyword, whichever you would like, or all 3, whichever you'd like. You can enter our drawing, and but if you enter more than one drawing, for more than one prize, you can win one of the 3 just by roulette wheel. So I'll go first. My keyword is Santa. I've created these 2, and I'm going to make a third. It's white with like a Fair Isle color work in it. This is just little standing Santas, and I did wash and block these this week, and I actually put paper cones in them. The instructions said to use stiff paper of 13 inches square. Now, when I read that, I was like, where on earth am I going to get thick paper that's 13 inches square? I'm like, I am not going to go to I don't know, a copy shop and buy some kind of giant piece of paper, because I was like, wait a minute, regular paper is 11 by 8.5. I'm like, no. So what I did is I taped 2 11 by 8.5, 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper together on the 11-inch length, so they were basically 16-ish by 11, and because I overlapped them, I taped them together. I kind of sort of folded it over to make a square, marked it, cut it, so it was a square of, I guess, 11 inches. And then I rolled it into a cone and stuffed it up in here and cut the excess off, and it worked. So you don't need some magical 13-inch piece of paper. So if you can make a paper cone, like when you were a kid, you can fill these. So I will send them without the cone because that won't ship very well. But so this Santa has his little robe has some relief right here, and his face is flat, is just stuck in it knitting. And then as you go around the edge, he's got cables, little cables for his curly hair, which I think is so cute. And garter stitch here for his beard and his top of his hat and his little hat. And the cone goes up to about right here, so it will kind of bend over however you would like. So I think he came out real cute. I know the cone's sticking out the bottom, but you'll do a better job when you put them together. And then this guy, he's a little shorter by design, and he's got stripes, and he's got these are baubles that came out actually pretty good, buttons, and he's also got a flat face, and then he's got cable stitching for his hair, and this very cute little striped hat. So that was a lot of fun. And then I'm going to make the third one probably this week. And I also have 2 fabric ornaments. I forgot the fabric. But you can look at our past videos. It's just 4 Christmas fabrics. I'm going to make some fabric star ornaments. I was going to do that. I'll probably make those tonight because I'm thinking of taking one to my Christmas party tomorrow. But anyway, I'm going to send 2 of those and 3 Santas. So that's my gift. And then, Beth, you can explain yours again.
Yes. Mine is a cottage garden samplings pattern. This is Christmas delivery, and it's Santa pulling his sleigh by hand, no reindeer involved. And his sleigh is full of Christmas packages, and
That's pretty.
there's a tree.
There is a reindeer.
There
on
is
the
a
bag.
reindeer in the bag, yeah. But he's got like a toy horse and a teddy bear and all that stuff. So I have this pattern. Plus, it's all DMC for the design. So all the DMC threads on a little cable thing
I like
here,
that cable.
and a pair of scissors because I am addicted to scissors. So I went ahead and bought some. So that one, and the keyword for this is delivery.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you'd like to be entered in that drawing.
Yes.
And
And
here's
then-
the big news. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
Uh-oh, something fell.
too many
She had a
files.
crap-a-lanch.
My stitching fell off the table. These 2 bags,
There goes the dog. Oh,
Was she going to eat your stitching?
probably.
see here to the dog.
So I finally finished this one, and it has a little
Nice.
Christmas tree here on
Aw.
the zip. And
Show the back. Show the back.
Oh,
Trucks
There's
and
little
Christmas
red trucks.
trees.
that's why the Christmas tree. The truck is carrying a tree.
Nice.
Although I looked at it and went, no, this is right side up, and then all these trucks are upside down. But when I looked at it, some of them went up and some of them went down. So, sorry. And then this one has, lumberjack plaid in here, and then sweaters and hats and stuff.
It's really cute.
And the little charm on this one is a little
Santa moon.
Santa moon right here.
Very cute.
So,
You get both bags.
yes,
If you win that prize, you get both bags.
And the keyword is bags.
bag.
Is that
The
right?
keyword is bag.
Yeah.
Bag or bags.
Yeah.
So, that, like I said, we will be doing that drawing. Your last date to enter is the 21st.
Yes.
And the video where you will hear your name will be on Christmas morning. Christmas, yeah, it'll come out Christmas morning.
So that is our giveaway, and I am going to start with stories with a story I forgot last week. So, my sister and I were at the grocery store, and it was a zoo. It was
As
Late-
stores are now.
it was late in the day,
Is this the time before Thanksgiving or not yesterday?
not yesterday.
Last week, she said.
Yeah.
It was last week or the last
Yeah,
time
yeah.
before yesterday. It might have been right before Thanksgiving, because it was crazy town.
Yeah, I was gonna say because we
So-
haven't been in a while.
Because my knees have been so painful, I have been using the electric carts in the places that have them. My preference is not to, because there are people certainly a lot more disabled than me, but to be able to function afterward and bring groceries in and stuff. So I was in one of those electric carts, and I turned up an aisle, and there was a man directly in front of me with a shopping cart. And to his right, my left, was a woman who was somehow acquainted with him. And she also had a cart or something that was in front of her. So I could not pass. And so he looked up at me and I said, "Excuse me." And he said something like, "Back up." and with a snotty look on his face. And I told him, "It's easier for you to back up than it is for me to back up." Meanwhile,
That's so bizarre because people are
usually very
polite.
sweet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she heard this and she moved whatever it was so I could go around him. And I heard her telling, no, he was telling me, I guess we're at an impasse. As I was going around him, I'm like, "What is the matter with you?" I mean, am I gonna get the what is it in Christmas with the Cranks, the ham or whatever, the last one? Why wouldn't you just, excuse me, step out of the way? I've never had anybody do anything like that. I mean, even when you're walking with a cart, you have to be polite to other people in the aisle. They've got display things in the aisle, and I mean, just it's a zoo. And so I'm like, I heard the woman tell him, "You're so rude."
Oh my gosh.
But yesterday, Beth and I were back at the grocery store. Senior day, got a discount. Gray hair. So,
Make your gray hair work for you.
so we needed to buy a filter for the air conditioner, and normally this filter is put in a big cart because normally I walk. I wasn't walking, so I just put it in the front of my cart. I almost ran into somebody because I couldn't see them. They were in my blind spot. And people are like, they leave their cart here and they go walk over there. And I would see them, but not their cart.
Oh, no.
I can't tell you how many times I almost slammed into somebody. And then in the bread aisle, the guy had bread things on the floor, which I couldn't see. I'm like, "What is going on in there? I can't see anything." I don't know how I managed to get through the whole store without causing bodily injury to another shopper. It was pretty funny, but yeah, I'll never forget this man. Back up.
That's so, because usually, I mean, it's always been my experience when we go shopping, and if I'm using one of those carts, that people are very solicitous and very kind. Like, "Oh, can I help you? Do you need help?
Can I get something up off the top
Yeah.
shelf for you?"
And it's usually not a problem, but golly.
Yeah,
Well,
that was.
How about the opposite? So I grew up. My best friend when I was in middle school was in a wheelchair. So I prided myself in being, kind of well versed in the world of wheelchairs, and she and I, it was very normal for me. It was not, I was very accustomed to that, and she and I had a really great relationship, and she was my best friend, and at the time, and so I don't, I think I have a very healthy view of folks who are in wheelchairs or disabled or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, like she always wanted to be treated completely normally, as much as possible. And so I was walking into a store one day, and they had a stack of hand baskets, shopping baskets, those
Yeah.
those
Little-
rectangle ones.
Uh-huh.
And it was very tall. It was a tall stack, like they had stacked it all the way up. And so this woman was approaching it in a wheelchair, and she was about to get one, but she would have had to reach very, very high to get the one off the top. And I said, would you like a hand with that or something like that? I said, can I help you with that? And she bit my head off.
Oh my God.
She was so angry that I would deign to help her. I'm like, I would help anyone. Like, it doesn't matter to me that you're in a wheelchair. And also, I'm short. I ask people for help all the time.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, really, lady? This was years and years ago.
When I was in junior high.
Now people like being special.
Yeah. When I was in junior high, I used to go to the convenience store on the corner. They had a payphone there that I would use to call boys.
Ew. See.
So,
True confession.
yeah. So one day I'm on the phone and I'm just happened to be staring toward the door. Not staring precisely, just I was talking and I was facing the door. I wasn't really paying attention to what was there. To this day, I have no idea what this woman was talking about. Mind you, this is a woman that went and screamed at a junior high age child that was not her own. She came over and started screaming at me about it being rude to stare at people just because they have a disability. And I'm like, I said, I'm on the phone. I wasn't staring at anybody, but she just wouldn't leave it alone. And I was like, that is not how you teach people to behave correctly.
Yeah.
And it affected the way I interact with strangers, But I always remember that don't assume that you know what's going on.
Yeah.
This lady just assumed because I was facing that direction that I was staring at whoever it was that was there. I have no idea who this person was. I don't know if it was somebody in a wheelchair. I don't know if it was somebody with Down syndrome. I don't know if it was somebody with no legs. I have no idea. Okay? That's how wrong this woman is. And she would not take, I don't know what you're talking about. She would not take that. And if I saw somebody talking to a young person like that today, I would have to stop them. Why are you talking to other people's children that way?
Yeah.
And
So
and it had to have been that she felt like it was maybe she herself was embarrassed by this. I don't know. I don't know why she would overreact like that. Because even if I had been staring at her, the right thing is to make me understand what it is that's going on. Eli used to get questions about what was wrong with him, right?
Yeah. And he just answered them.
Well, I remember one time we were at the park with him when he was pretty little. You and I must have been out here for New Year's or something, but we had taken him to the park. This one you lived in an apartment building, and we were at the park, and there was like a little sand pit kind of thing the kids were could dig in, and some other little boy was there, and so Eli was like, I guess, just using one hand or whatever. He couldn't use his other hand, and so this kid asked him, like, what happened to you, or something like that, or what's wrong with you, or something. And Eli said, nothing.
None of your beeswax?
That reminds me of
No, to him, there was nothing wrong with him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that reminds me of a TikTok I saw, a woman saying that, and she was young, like, I don't know, 30s, but she said that she has a disability and she walks with a cane. And she was in a store, I believe she said it was a Target. And a woman came up to her, her boyfriend who was with her walked away from her to go look at something. And she was looking at some merchandise in front of her. But she was standing with her cane. And a woman came and started yelling at her about, faking things and pretending that you need a cane when you're so young and you cannot use a cane. And she started trying to kick the cane out from under her. And her husband, she tried to ignore this woman, and her husband is like, she's talking to you. And I'm like, why would you care what somebody else is doing?
Yeah, even if you had like some opinion in your mind about whether or not the person is disabled, why would you walk up to them and accost them? It's like, that's so rude. Oh my God.
There's been times when I see people, coming out of a business and getting in a car that's parked in the handicap spot when they are very obviously not handicapped. But that is not my business.
Mm-hmm.
If I were a police officer,
you can have invisible disabilities, and
yes.
you can have heart problems. I think about that a lot, because there's people who have, are in heart failure and shouldn't be walking across the parking lot, and they probably would have that. So you just mind your own business.
I'm talking about like when you see DoorDash people parked in the handicap so they can not have to,
Well, people parked there without a tag is a whole different thing.
When I had a disability tag for a while, and it was because of my asthma, because I couldn't walk very far. And so I know, people could look at me and go, well, what's wrong with her? But now I limp and all this other stuff. But, it's.
But even so, you don't make assumptions about why or if a person, and it's, especially if they're there with a cane, you don't sit there and assume that whether or not they should you just don't do that.
Kicking the cane
That's
out
ridiculous.
from under her.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, that amused me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yesterday when we were at the store, I was parking after we had finished. We had unloaded everything, and I was parking the car. So I have this bruise because this bug, like, I was parking the little cart, and I was about to get out, and this bug flew at me. And so I went to, shoo it away or whatever. But I guess because my hand was in my lap or something, I caught the corner of that basket, just whacked the heck out of my hand. I was like, ugh.
Oh my gosh.
So I was thinking about it because it's right next to this little lump that I'm having surgery on, and that's my other story. So I had talked to the hand surgery scheduler several weeks ago, because I had gone to see the doctor and everything, and they said, well, you should get on the surgery schedule, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to do the surgery, because I have a ganglion lump here, and sometimes it's bigger, and sometimes it's smaller, and sometimes it hurts, and so, but sometimes it doesn't, and so I was like on the fence about whether or not to have it removed, and fortunately my insurance will pay for it apparently, so that was one of my concerns. But so anyway, so I had gone ahead and put myself on the schedule, but I had basically wanted to do it right away. And then as I was hemming and hawing about it, Naomi had suggested, well, maybe you should wait till our concert, which was this past Tuesday, and then do it after that. So I had called them up to change the surgery date to sometime after Tuesday, which was the day before yesterday, as we were recording. So I was imagining, like maybe Wednesday or today, Thursday, that I would have this surgery. And so I was talking to the scheduler, and she goes, well, we don't have anything available until like the 21st. And so I thought, well, that's kind of close to Christmas, but okay. So I said, okay, yeah, I guess that'll do. And she said, oh, fine, we'll call you back with the exact time or whatever. And so I was waiting, and they weren't calling me back. And so Naomi's like, well, maybe you should call them and double check on that, since I never heard back from them.
I never wait.
So I called them today, and of course I had to leave a message for them to call me back. So the scheduler girl called me and said, we have you on the schedule for the 19th.
Thanks for letting me know.
And I was like, are you sure? And so yeah, she said, yeah, we don't have anything available on the 21st, but we have you on the night for the 19th. And I was like, okay, that's Monday, okay. And that's a Monday, not this Monday, but a week from now, from this Monday. And so she, I guess she wasn't really, gonna volunteer any information. So I asked her, like, okay, so where is it gonna be? And so she told me the place, and I said, well, what time is it scheduled for? And she said, oh, well, we'll call you one business day before the procedure. And I'm like,
Hells to the no? I'm sorry?
yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah, it's like, you can't tell me a specific time, And she was like they wouldn't know or something. And I'm like, so it could be any time between, 8 in the morning and,
And can you eat?
5.
Can you not eat?
And well, so I can't eat. I can't have anything to eat starting, I guess, at midnight on Sunday.
Okay, no. You call them back and you say, I'm diabetic and I cannot go all day waiting for you to tell me when, so she's going to call you.
So she's going to call me on Friday, yeah.
Oh, brother.
So theoretically,
still.
Yeah, but even so, it's like, it's kind of short notice to try to make sure I can get a ride and, all kind of stuff. And because, like Eve is my ride, and she has an appointment at some point on that day.
Because my doctors tell me when I need to be there.
Well, most of my, it's funny because I looked at the reviews of this place, this
don't say it.
No, this particular organization, when I first was, I guess my primary care, I guess, suggested this place, or in the referral or whatever. And so I was looking at it, and the reviews ranged from the oh, this is the best place and blah blah, I just love this doctor, blah blah blah, to, and I guess they have several locations, so it may have been per location, what doctor, what the office staff or whatever. But the other reviews were like on the other end of the spectrum, were like, this is the most horrible place I've ever been. So I was like, I don't know. But my previous appointments that I've had there have been fine. I haven't had, my interaction with the doctors has been fine, and all that. It seemed,
It's a nice office, too.
Yeah, it's a nice place, but it was like,
Bizarre. That's a bizarre way
yeah,
to do things.
that's the most, yeah.
Well, for a long time, the company that handles, like, where my doctor is and hers and all that, it's a conglomerate thing. And I hated anytime I needed a referral because you couldn't get it. Because you had to go through this central phone thing. And if they were in an office that was, vigilant about that kind of thing, you would get your referral. But I remember taking Beth somewhere once, and they had not sent the referral through. Was it podiatry or something?
Yeah, something. I can't remember.
And they were trying to get it so that she could keep her appointment. Finally, we had to just reschedule the appointment because they were just not sending that referral through.
Yeah, and that one, a lot of times I would call, they said, they would say, oh yeah, okay, we'll send this referral or whatever, and then I would call that doctor's office, and they said, no, we never got a referral for them. So I had to call them back and say, would you please send this referral? Oh yes, we'll send it right away. And so it's just like, it's like, isn't your whole job doing that? You're not treating patients. And yeah, it was just a pain. And I remember, I guess this is when we lived on Baylor Street before we moved into this house, that I had somebody from one of my other doctors, I guess, was waiting to hear from something from my primary care doctor. And I remember her telling me, well, that I can't be waiting, like on the phone all day for hours waiting, because it was true that when you would call, you would be on hold for like a bazillion years waiting for somebody to get to the phone.
They got bought
Your
by
call's
somebody
very
else, and
important to us.
they're a lot better now. But it was like every time you had to call over there, you were like, oh. Now you can get a.
Because she actually told me, could you call them? Because I can't, because she was having to make, several phone calls. So she couldn't stand to, be there on the phone all day waiting for somebody to answer the phone.
That are like that. I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot.
It's just, yeah. But I had a procedure today. I walked in, I sat down, they said my name. I got up. I mean, I was there maybe a total of half an hour.
That's nice.
Yeah. They're, I'm pretty happy with them.
We had an eye doctor appointment this morning. It was like, took forever. But eye doctors usually do. Not for me. Anyway, so last weekend, when I last saw you all, I was about to go, we were going to go to Holiday Pop.
It was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. The concert was really good.
Yeah.
Very varied, and the conductor was new to the city. He'd never been here before. He was really great. Yeah, so we had a lot of fun Friday night, and then I went to work Saturday night, Saturday all day, because we had an afternoon and an evening, and that was okay. And then Sunday was the Parades from Hell day. You would not believe. You would not believe the day I had. Okay. It was raining. It rained pretty much off and on all weekend, right?
It rained right after the pops until after Monday.
Until Monday, yeah. So, Saturday it was raining all day. And then Sunday it was still raining. And I'm on my way into work. I was supposed to be there at 11:45, and I was running, so it was like 11:30ish, and I was running a few minutes late. So I texted my boss and said, I'm running a few minutes late, and they said, that's fine, but be aware there's a parade. And I was like, in the rain? And they said, yeah, it's mostly like floats. And then a few minutes later, they texted me and said, just kidding, there's also people walking. And I'm like, in the rain? And so, okay, so I figured, and I'm like, well, where is it? And they said, it's like, they weren't really sure, but like on First Street. So the hall is on 2nd Street, and the entrance to the garage is on 2nd Street. And so I was like, okay, if it's on First Street, maybe I can, avoid it. Well, so I'm coming up, and I see Washington, which is a big artery, one way toward the hall where I need to go, is blocked. It's closed. And I was like, okay, I'll go north of the hall to Van Buren and come down. So I go up to Van Buren, and I go over, and I'm approaching 2nd Street, which I need to go down to get to the hall. And the turn lane is blocked. But I see people turning anyway, and I was like, yes. So they go, and I see that there's a sign that says road closed, local traffic only. I was like, okay, I'm local traffic. Mm-hmm. So this is Van Buren. Then there's Monroe, which goes through, and then there's Adams, which ends at the convention center, and just below Adams is the garage. So I'm on Van Buren. I turn down, and I'm thinking, okay, if I can just make it past Monroe, I'm in the clear, right? Mm-hmm. No, Monroe is closed. And I don't think to pull up to the barrier and say, hey, cop, let me through. I just think, oh, no, it's closed. And there was a U-Haul parked up near the closure. And so I couldn't even approach it. So it's like, okay. And I'm thinking, I'll go past First Street, if that's where the parade is, and I'll approach it coming back this way. I'm thinking, if Monroe is closed, Adams has to be open, and I can get over there. So I go, and stupid me, I didn't think about this, but I was going past First Street, which I thought it was on. But anyway, I thought it was First and Monroe. I don't know what I thought. It doesn't matter. Everything is one way, and everything is all tangled. So I go back up to Van Buren, and I go out, I think, to like First Ave, I don't know what, and I go down, and I get on Adams, and I'm traveling on Adams, and nope, can't get through at First. And there was a cop there, and everyone was turning around, and so I started to turn around, and I kind of parked myself close to the barriers, and I lowered my window, and I was like, officer, 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 I was yelling at him. And finally he turns around, and I'm like, I need to get to the hall. Now, mind you, this is now noon. I was supposed to be there at 11:45. It's noon, and approaching 12:15. I'm half an hour late, basically. And I'm like, I need to get to the Regency garage. And he goes like this, and turned around. Like, I can't hear you.
I had a cop tell me that I had to pick up a lady at a baseball stadium, and they have one way you can go in, but the GPS was sending me the wrong way. And so I went up to some guy that was, directing traffic up there, and I said, I have to go pick up somebody in there, I'm an Uber driver, and I have to go. He goes, that's not my problem. You need to leave.
He just was like, can't hear you. I turned around. And I was like, okay. So now I'm starting to have that, I'm going to cry, because I'm so late for work. And my assistant manager calls me and says that my manager said, because I guess they had called her, and she said, just tell the cops you need to get through. And I'm like, I would like to. That would be great. But apparently they can't hear me. So I was like freaking. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back up, and I'm gonna go down 2nd Street again, and I'm gonna tell the cop to let me through. So I went up to back up to Van Buren, and I go to 2nd Street, and I turn down 2nd Street, and there's nothing there. And I was like, wait, did I not come down 2nd? No, I did come down 2nd before, but I guess in the interim, they had dissolved the parade and had gone away. So I was like, okay.
So while I was driving Uber, there was a young lady who was a freshman. She wasn't from here, and she wanted to go to the football game for the college here. And she took an Uber. But she didn't know that she wasn't allowed to take the purse that she had.
Oh, no.
The purse she had was too big, or I don't know what. And she didn't drive there because they told her, well, just go put it in your car. She goes, I can't. I didn't drive here. And because it was so close to the beginning of the year, she didn't know which way to go to get back to the dorm.
Oh, no.
So she called another Uber to come pick her up. Now, in between the first Uber dropping her off and the second guy who was called to come get her, they blocked off the road, as they do for these football games, because all of humanity is trying to walk across.
Yeah.
And so the person couldn't get there. And she said, well, I'm right where they dropped me off. And she was trying to describe where she was. She was telling me this. She was trying to describe where she was, and he goes, I can't get all through that. I don't know where you are, and I'm going to cancel the ride. And apparently another person did basically the same thing. By the time I got her, and I saw that all the roads were blocked off, I called her and I said, I can't get to where the thing that tells me that you are. And she was in tears.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I said,
so frustrating.
I said, I know where you are. I said, can you see the sun? She said, yeah. I said, walk to the sun. And once you get past the barriers, stay there. And I drove around and I found her. Because I knew what roads were blocked off and where she was, where the stadium was.
Right.
Of course I knew what road she was on.
Yeah.
And she's like, thank you so much. Nobody would pick me up. Nobody.
Oh my God.
And she was young and, like I said, new to the area. And she's like, they kept canceling on me. And
oh my God.
And She gave me a very good tip. But I would have picked her up even if she hadn't given me a good tip. I'm like, no young lady should sit there terrified because she doesn't know how to get home.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if she just started walking home, not with all the humanity that was out there?
Yeah.
God knows what could have happened to her.
Or just gotten lost and been forever walking.
Well, and all the buses are going through and everything, and she does, during a football game,
So
that area is impassable.
So, okay, Parade from Hell, Chapter 2. It's raining cold. It's already dark because it's winter. And my assistant manager asks me for a ride home. I've given him a ride home before. So, it's not too far. It's like up just, it's like we're like, it's just a few miles north and a few mile or two west. So I was like, sure. So we go up, and we're driving up, going up Central, and all of a sudden, there's all this traffic, and the road's closed. And I'm like, that's weird. Why is it closed? And it's like, I don't know. And so I pull off into this school. It spits me out into this school, and we're like in the parking lot, and everyone's like traipsing around the parking lot, but I'm like, isn't there an exit up there? And so we finally go through and get through this neighborhood, and nope, cannot get up to Camelback. And there was a cop there, and he's like, it's the electric light parade. I'm like, in the rain? So I start to go back out, and he's like, just go back out to Central and go down. So I'm like, okay, I'll go down and go back, out past, it and take you home. And Nick's like, no, just let me out here. I'm like, no, it's raining. I don't want you. He's like, just let me out here. I'm like, no, I am your surrogate mother. I cannot. Well, so they start unbuckling, and Nick's like, I'm getting out here. Stop the car. I'm getting out. I'm not going to make you stay away from your family longer to take me. It's like, it's a 5-minute walk. It's fine. I'm like, no, you don't unbuckle. Finally, they unbuckled and got out.
Well,
like, okay, fine. I said, please text me when you get home. I was like, I cannot believe all these people in Phoenix went to parades in the rain. Who goes to a parade in the rain?
Whether they go or not, they have to block off the road.
So
That's just like I used to have to take Robert to swim meets during that Martin Luther King Jr. Day marathon.
Yeah.
And all the roads are blocked, and there's nothing that tells you how to get where you need to go.
Yeah.
It's not like there's signs that say detour, go that way.
Well, and you know what? Google Maps didn't know, at least, when I was going to work, I had Google Maps on, but it didn't know the roads were all closed.
No.
So
sometimes they do.
Sometimes they
Waze
do,
often
sometimes
does.
don't,
but
it
yeah.
was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So that was my fun adventure. Oh, I had a Christmas with the Cranks shopping experience.
Oh.
So I decided to try to learn to make my mother's biscochitos. Newsflash. And so what do I need to make biscochitos? And I also saw this little article popped up on my social media that said, the secrets, the grandma's secrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they talked to all these abuelas in New Mexico, because it's the New Mexican state cookie, by the way. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I didn't know that. Anyway,
It's delicious.
it's wonderful. But they're like, the secrets are, well, one of the things they said was, you have to use lard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do not use do not use Crisco. Do not use butter. You have to use lard.
Morton's,
and they said,
Morton's lard.
yeah, they said, you can have a biscochito or you can have a sugar cookie. Like, use the lard. So I was like, okay, fine. So, because what Mom wrote was lard or butter is what she wrote. But I was like, no, okay, fine. So I decide that I'm going to cook another loaf of cranberry bread, and I will not make it dense and crumbly. Because I've got to use my cranberries that I have. And so I was like, I need some more nuts, and and so Eli and I went to the store, and I'm like, I'm going to get all the stuff for biscochitos. So I'm going to get lard, and I'm going to get brandy. right? 'Cause you gotta have brandy.
Yeah, you have to brandy.
So, do you have brandy in this house from Mom's?
I have brandy.
Because I thought about it later.
But I couldn't find the cooking brandy.
I couldn't
So
either.
I have
I have
brandy.
a giant bottle. Okay, so wait. Okay, so I wish I'd known you had some because I would have begged it off you. But anyway, so I go in the baking aisle, and of
I
course,
have it if Robert hasn't done.
he doesn't do the brandy type. But anyway, I go to the baking aisle, and of course there's slim pickings of Crisco and no lard.
Maybe
Zero.
I have rum.
Zero lard. So I'm like, okay, well.
I was gonna say I don't remember ever seeing it.
Oh no!
In
They have
recent
they
years.
have the little boxes. It's up on the top
Oh yeah,
shelf,
yeah.
but it was
They
gone.
have them still.
So I'm like, and it says of the Crisco more items, in a baking, like a one of those special
Yeah.
kiosk
Kiosks,
things
yeah.
near dairy or whatever. So I go over there, and of course there's Crisco, but there's no lard over there. So I am wandering around, and I see on an end cap that there's a tamale display with the red chili and the corn husks and all the things you need to do tamales, which Hannah says she wants to do this year. Oh, shoot my head. So anyway, at the bottom of those shelves is a 4-pound bucket of lard. And there's 3 of them. And they're all covered also in lard. Like there is white lard on the outsides of those buckets. And I was like, I don't want to put that in my cart.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh. So then I went over to I also looked at the baking aisle I thought maybe they would have a small bottle of brandy, and they don't. So I went to the alcohol area, and I don't know as I'm a child when it comes to alcohol, and I don't know exactly like what type of
There were so many different
brandy
ones.
is. Well, no, but I'm saying I don't know what it where it would be.
Yeah.
Would it be with the whiskey? Would it be the it's not with the wine, and so I'm like wine, and then there's mixers, and then there's this, and then that, and like I said, I'm a baby, so I did not see it, and I couldn't even think of like a brand.
I had to have somebody show it to me.
I couldn't think of a brand name, like what's a famous brand name, and the only thing I could think was Crown Royal, but that's actually a whiskey. I found out, so I'm like, okay, I can't find it. I know it's here. It's a grocery store. There has to be brandy in the grocery store. So I'm like, okay. And I go back to the baking aisle, and there's a young lady who works at Fry's. Now, my son used to work at Fry's. And back when he used to work at Fry's, if you asked a Fry's employee, I'm sorry, Fry's. If you asked an employee at that grocery store to help you, they would help you. But this girl, she was doing go backs, and I said, hi, I need some help. First of all, there's no lard in this aisle. Do you know if you have any more anywhere in the store? No. And I said, and I said, she goes, you'll have to go to, oh, no, I forgot the beginning of the story. So I buy milk in glass jars, and you can take them for a refund. And so I brought them in, clank, clank, clank in my cart, and I go to customer service, and there were like 3 people standing there, but it said it's closed. So I was like, is it really closed? And this one manager was walking by real fast. She's like, yeah, it's been closed all day. I just don't have the people. And I was like, so I can't do these? And she's like, I'm sorry, it's closed. And I was like, okay. So I told Eli, stay here with the cart. I'm going to take these back out to the car because I don't want them, clanking around in the cart. So I walked all the way back out to the car and put them in. So that's the beginning of the story. I forgot to tell you. So then I meet up with this girl in the baking aisle, and I was like, do you know if you have any more lard? And she's like, well, you'll have to go to customer service because they're the ones that can do inventory. I said, there's no one at customer service. And she's like, oh, and I'm like, and also, I can't find brandy. I know I don't see any like cooking size bottles here in the baking aisle, you know, and I could not find it in the alcohol aisle. Or I said, and I couldn't find it anywhere else or something like that. And she's like, well, it's an alcohol, right? And I'm like, yeah, I've already looked over there. And she's like, well, you'll have to ask customer service. I said, so you can't help me? And she's like, no. I was like, and Eli was like,
By the way, all Fry's employees can help you.
I know. And so I was like, fine. So I walked back up to customer service, and I was so angry, and my frozen things are melting and everything, but I was like, I need help. And there were 3 people standing there, and I'm like, I know customer service is closed, but I need help. I cannot find these particular items. So the first thing we tackled, and then a very nice manager came, and she came out, and the first thing we tackled was brandy, and oh no. The first thing was the lard. So she's like, it says we have lard in the back, but a new truckload came, so it's probably behind the new thing, so it's not really safe for us to get back there to get it. Blah 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 blah. I don't care. And and I said, well, there's those buckets. It's a 4-pound. I only wanted a pound because that's one recipe's worth. There's a 4-pound bucket. So I said, but it's all gross. So we went to look at that, and she's like, I'm gonna go wash this off for you, and I'm gonna give it to you for 50% off. And I was like, yes. So I got that, and then we go, and she also could not find the brandy. And she couldn't even remember a brand of, you know, like a brand name of brandy. So we're looking, and there it was right there. And but they were giant bottles. It's like this big. And so and while she was looking, I was also kind of looking online, like what can you substitute, or what, you know. I didn't really want to substitute, but anyway, so I finally found brandy, and I was like, so she walked me up to the checkout and told the chick that the lard was 50% off, and so then I'm checking out, and this cashier, who's an older woman, she's like, because I put my new bottle of milk on there, and she's like, do you know about the glass buyback, program with this? And I was like, yeah, I tried to do that, and I couldn't because customer service was closed. And she goes, well, any cashier can do it.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, the manager who told me, not the same manager that helped me, a different one. The manager who told me customer service was closed did not tell me that, because I even said, so I can't turn these in. And that's when she's like, I haven't had anybody all day. I'm short people. She didn't say go to the register and do it. So she's like, would you want to go get them? I'm like, no, they are out in my car. I am not going out there again. Forget it. I'll do it some other day. And so I got home, and I told Mark, don't even talk to me about the honey, what is it? Hickory honey ham. And because, okay, so when I told him that I have to use lard to make these cookies, he was like, because he, the thought of actual animal fat or whatever, it's like, are you trying to kill me? I'm like, look, you can eat the cookies or not, whatever. You loved my mom's cookies. So every time you ate them, guess what? You ate lard. So I'm like, so just don't even talk to me about it. And don't even say anything about this giant tub of lard. And I'm naming it Tina. Come get your dinner, Tina. Big tub of lard from
that big red can that Mom has had forever. That's a lard can.
Yeah.
Well, and I told him, I said,
that's a grandma used
I said, do you recognize this tub? This is what my mom kept all her plasticware in. It was a tub like this. I said, I got to start the tradition. So now I can make 4 batches of biscuit Cheetos. So watch out.
It's a good thing she's baking, because I haven't.
Yeah, I've decided, everything's hard for me this year, but I have decided that I want to bake, so it's good.
It's not a lack of wanting to, it's a lack of just, I can't stand up.
Yeah, I know, and I need to schedule time and really, I need to actually, think it through and, figure out what I'm going to bake and how much I'm going to bake and everything, but I'm planning on it. I do every year, but now I'm like, I did a good job last year,
She bakes really well. She's a good baker.
and so
Robert
that'll
says
be-
I can only do breads.
why?
I bet that's what I bake well.
Well,
That's what he told Peyton.
I
The
can't
one
do
thing-
bread. I've never done bread. I shouldn't say I can't. I just never have. I'm afraid of.
Well, I'm not talking about bread because I can bake that, but you know, like pumpkin bread and all those breads.
Yeah.
I can make the sour cream sugar cookies.
Yeah.
But, you know, only under certain circumstances. I haven't had time to think about it, you know.
Well, you know, it's a big. I wind up taking over the whole house when I do because I don't have a big kitchen. I don't have a big island. I don't have.
This house doesn't lend itself to baking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
My kitchen's not big, and so I have like my spritz cookies that I make, my thin mints that I make. Last year I made those chocolate chip cookies, which are like, oh, I was so mad. So I have this new colleague at work, and he is a tuba player, but he also goes, but he also cooks a lot. He calls himself tuba chef. So he's I can tell he like makes his own macarons and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like super chefy. And I'm so angry because he was like, oh, I need to make my toffee chip chocolate chip cookies, and you'll really like them. He's something like or my brown butter toffee chip chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, I make a brown butter cookie. I said it's a recipe called how to make the best chocolate chips in the world, chocolate chip cookies in the world. And I'm like, it has two different kinds of sugar, two different kinds of flour, and espresso powder. And he goes, that's my recipe. That's the recipe I use. I'm like, no, that's my recipe. You are not going to come in here and impress everyone with a cookie that I already make. So we're going to maybe have a chocolate cookie war. He goes, everyone wins in a chocolate chip cookie war.
Well, Robert wants me to make Christmas crack.
Oh yeah.
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 I
He was.
remember
I had on. I don't know. I was just watching things for Christmas Eve here. I'm having people, just a potluck kind of like little handheld dessert things, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to make, and I just brought up that video, and he's like, "You have that, you have that, you have that," and and he's like, "No." He's telling her, "You've got a gap." So I think I'll make it just to make him happy, but not necessarily for that night.
Oh, so you won't share?
No.
That was I was gonna for that Christmas Eve thing you were talking about. That was one I was gonna make, the sour cream sugar
I don't
cookies.
want to share those either.
What was I gonna say? I just found my mom's. We were looking through recipes a minute ago, and I just found my mom's recipe for pumpkin cookies, which I'm very excited about.
Put chocolate chips
Because
in.
I loved her pumpkin cookies, and I was thinking about that the other day, but I have been trying. I'm wondering if in that box is mincemeat cookies, because Mark loves her mincemeat cookies.
I bet it is.
I tried to make them last year, and they came close, but I'm hoping her mincemeat cookie recipe.
It's like all of us when we tried to make the biscuits Grandma used to make. You were like,
Maybe she used lard.
Maybe she used lard.
I'm sure she used lard because she used her tortilla. She's told me she uses it's the tortilla recipe, and she changes it somehow to make the biscuits. Mm-hmm. And they're fantastic. They're better than butter on a fresh tortilla, but along those lines, because the biscuit is. Oh my God! I just thinking about it.
They're like hockey pucks on the outside,
Yeah,
but
they're
you open
hard.
them up and they're
Yeah.
like soft and fluffy on the
yeah.
inside.
They're so good.
and the butter just soaks into them.
I'm not a baker, so it's not something that.
For a long
occurs
time
to
after I
me.
moved here, I used to try to bake them. I used to bake all the time. I have the such or other book of breads, and I used to make breads all the time when I was in Albuquerque too.
Yeah.
I'd make festive breads and special breads, and
Yeah, you made like a braid with the dark bread and the light bread. I remember. Get on it. Get back to it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Nah.
I want bread. I want bread.
I like making a fresh, like just a French loaf of bread. You know, when it comes out of the oven and you can hear it go, you go, and you can tell it's done because of the way it sounds, and you break that open and the steam is just coming out.
Yummy.
But I have not baked since we moved to this house. I don't think.
Really?
I always remember when my grandmother would make tortillas, she would always like pop the little dough things on the table, and there was a particular popping sound because she would break off little balls of dough, and then she would take and flatten them with her hand, but they were like a little cup, and then she would pop it onto the table and then roll it out. And she had a little rolling pin that was a broom handle that my grandfather had cut down, so it was just a little bit wider than her hand, and it was so worn, you know, from years and years of use. But she would just like whip, turn, and they're perfect circles all the time.
Yeah.
I always joked about making, you know, geography lessons because
I'm trying. I'm working on it. I keep working on it. I keep trying.
Yeah.
And I saw a TikTok with a lady making them without any, because Mom puts baking powder. She would put baking powder in, but this lady didn't. And I thought maybe that's why hers were so thin on this video I was watching. And Mom's recipe, they come out thick.
And
so
here
thin.
in Arizona, the tortillas that you see here, they're kind of have a yellow tint instead of white, and they're thin, almost see-through. And to me, not good.
Yeah. I guess so there's different recipes, but and then I thought maybe I should. It would kill us all. We'd all die. But try making them with lard, since I have a large quantity now, and see how they taste different. But Mom always made hers.
Grandma could tell if the dough was right, if you had done it right by handling the dough. She's like, you didn't put enough this in, you didn't put enough. She knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lady on YouTube who has I guess is on a farm down in Mexico somewhere, and her YouTubes are all in Spanish. Sometimes there's subtitles, but mostly not. And she just cooks, and she has a big matate there with a big giant thing of tortilla dough, and it's as white as snow. It's beautiful. And she gets a dough, like a pastry, what's that called? The cutter.
Yeah,
and
I
just
have one of
cuts
those.
some off. And then to make the tortillas, she just goes, and they're this big and perfectly round. I don't know. She just does this instead of rolling them. She does this, and then she has this huge, I guess it's a wood oven, but so she stands kind of behind it to the side, and she's outside. But this oven has like a big metal top on it, and that's where she cooks everything. She cooks all the food. And also, she'll just slap the tortilla over there, and then turn it over. And she's the most beautiful, precious thing. And I actually had Mom and Dad watch one of her recipes, but I have not been able to find. I haven't looked in a long time, but an episode where she is cooking, where she's doing the tortilla dough, because that's what I really want to do. Yeah. She's making all different kinds of things, and then she feeds her husband, and he's like. So but she's really beautiful.
I've made tortillas a couple of times, but I always had trouble getting the dough. I think I mix the dough too much because they tend to come out kind of chewy, leathery, kind of, rather than just sort of that light, So I don't know if I'm making the dough wrong, or if I'm just mixing it too long.
When I was taught how to make tortillas, I was not taught the way Mom showed Hannah measuring. It was handfuls of this and a pinch of that, and that is how I learned. But I cannot bring it forward in my mind enough to be able to do that.
So Mom's recipe that she taught us that day, which Hannah wrote down word for word, and including drink the water, drink the leftover water, is very similar to the one that's in my Simply Simpatico New Mexican cookbook that I have. There's a tortilla recipe in there. It's very similar, and I've made both, and they're very similar, but Mom's recipe. Now she did say, I think it's this much. I think it's that much. So she also, I think, did it by feel.
As we got older, she stopped making them as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to make them like
every day. Every week,
Yeah. All the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a particular bowl that we all associate with tortillas.
I used to run through the kitchen, grab a hot one, slap butter on it, and run out. Yeah. It's my favorite smell.
There's nothing that smells as good or tastes as good as a fresh tortilla.
Yep. So.
Except Grandma's biscuits.
Yeah.
We better go.
We better go. I gotta go home and feed men.
Because this conversation has made me very hungry.
It's been good to be with you again. We hope your December is going well. Oh, cute. I was looking at those snowmen. Very cute.
A shorter one and a longer one.
I was going to say that we had a concert on Tuesday.
Yeah. Real quick story before we go. Okay. I'm going to grump about somebody right now. Okay, so we're in a community orchestra. Everyone there, we're not professionals. None of us are perfect, okay? And there was a guy doing a little cello solo. And, okay, I'll say, as a musician, it wasn't perfect. But he was trying his best. He had the best heart. And at some point, you have to be like...
You just have to be gracious.
You just have to be gracious. And realize that it's about the experience. And none of the concert was perfect. So I'm going to give him some grace. And I'm just going to let him, in my heart, just do his best. And I'm not going to, be ugly about it. Unlike the oboe player. Last week, she, at break, comes up to me, like I'm sitting here, Beth's sitting here beside me, and she comes up here and she's like, I hope so-and-so, whatever his name was, I hope he practices that a lot this week. And I wanted to scream at her. Instead, I picked up my phone and I turned to Beth and I said, hey, have you seen this video? And I just completely ignored her and she walked away. So,
to what purpose?
Ugly. Exactly. Just to be ugly.
It's just like...
And it's not as though she plays perfectly, that she's ever really all that in tune, that she never makes any mistakes.
She's very notoriously... Like, there was some solo that she had that she was just like... She couldn't get to speak, or she was chickening out and not just blowing through
not
the
being,
whole,
Not being, so, I'm like, you're not perfect. Shut up. So, I ignored her. Then... Tuesday night at the concert, we're warming up beforehand. And now, so when you're in an orchestra or you're in a group, you have the people in front of you, and then you have a stand, and then you're sitting here. And so when you want to talk to somebody behind you, a lot of times what you do is you lean back and you kind of put your head around their stand. And that's common for talking to people row to row. And so she did that. She leaned back and put her face around my stand. So I thought she was going to say something to me about like, hey, in this one part, or something about the music, or needed to speak to me about something, or ask us something about like where we come in, or I don't know, the way you ask questions. So she leans back like that and she said, the particular piece is a Dvorak piece. So she says, I had to go home and listen to the Dvorak because I couldn't even tell what key he was playing in. Like, made all this special point to say something to me.
To complain about
that was ugly about that guy. And I said, I'm like, I can't ignore you because your face is in my face. And I said, that's very rude. I said, that's very rude. And she goes, well, it's true. And I said, he's trying his best, and I would not want to be judged. And by this time, she had removed herself and was sitting back up. And that set the tone for the whole night I was so angry. Was so angry. And then she blew it. She blew one of her solos completely.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Did you
what
tell her
goes
that you
around comes
did you
around.
tell her you were going to have to go listen to that piece to see what it really
to
sounded
see
like?
where that oboe was supposed to come in. I'm like, just don't be ugly. You're not, and the thing is that, okay, musicians have a bad habit of being ugly about things, about being exacting and about being critical, because music is as much as it's subjective and like in terms of like interpretation and emotion and all those things are very subjective about music. It's also a very exacting taskmaster, because an A is an A is an A is an A. An A flat is an A flat is an A flat. And if you play an A when you were supposed to play an A flat, it is very glaring. It's very out there. Everybody knows it. And so as musicians, we get to kind of start to be very perfectionistic and critical, because, you want to go and you want to hear something good, and so you go and somebody messes up and you're like, they blew it. Like even in the holiday pops, I heard a trumpet blow it.
Yeah.
And, of course, my musician brain is like, they blew it. But, and even if you think those things,
Yeah.
or you go home and you say it to someone in private, or like, you and I, we're sisters, so we say, hey, that really sucked, right? You can say that, but to say it out loud in front of people, to someone you barely know. I mean, how does she know I'm not best friends with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that maybe the flute player sitting next to her is, related. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Well, and an orchestra like that is for people to continue using their skills.
It's a mixture of students who don't have a degree or aren't music majors or whatever.
Yeah.
And community people who are playing, like me. I can't play the way I played when I was doing it professionally, and I can feel it in my right hand that, I'm falling off the keys and stuff like that. I really struggle with it, with really technical passages. But it's a place that I can play to have that outlet.
And to his credit, our conductor is fabulously forgiving and encouraging. And, I talked to him about this after the concert. I was so angry before, but I forced myself to not say anything to him before, because I didn't want to ruin his experience.
Right.
And it was already ruining mine. And, I told Beth about it, but I didn't tell anybody else. But then afterward, I was talking to the clarinetist, and I was like, I'm so mad. And I told him what happened, and he's like, well, consider the source. I'm like, I know. So anyway, he actually approached our conductor about it. And we're all friends, Our conductor and I are also friends in other contexts. So I felt okay. But so I was telling him about it, and he's like, he said about this cellist, he's like, he's never had a lesson in his life. He's never done anything like this before. And he just wanted to try. And he gave him the room and the grace. And that's how Brian is. He's a godly, gracious man. And for her to just all over that made me so mad. And I'm like, this is not what this is about. And she's so terrified we don't have a second oboe player. She's so terrified we're going to bring in a second oboe player, and it would make her look bad. She has said those words, and I'm like,
really?
Who do you think you are to talk about someone like that?
Yeah.
So Mark says, my husband also plays oboe. He goes, "Do you want me to come and sit second?"
So when I was a lot younger, I joined the community orchestra. It was through UNM, and I remember we sang
You mean
Carmina Burana?
chorus? You said orchestra.
Chorus. Sorry, chorus. Is that the name of it?
Carmina Burana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. And I can't sing. I mean, I can sing, but I mean, I can't. I just did it because it sounded like fun, And I loved going and singing, and even though I knew that I can't pronounce those words, and I didn't care if the people around me were in tune or not, because we were there to just sing.
when I was in the Arkansas Symphony, there was we were doing some piece, pictures at an exhibition, or as we used to call it, pictures of an exhibitionist. Anyway, but there's a solo passage in there that is written for baritone, which you normally wouldn't have in the regular orchestra. But our second trombone player was
That's
a
usually done by a. Oh, I see. What
yeah, was a baritone player also.
Uh-huh.
So he had the solo. So we're playing that particular movement, and he would like start in the right place, but he was like going totally the wrong tempo. So the first time the conductor stopped, and he was telling him, oh yeah, he's and so we did it again, and the same thing happened, and I was like, what is he doing? And so I was talking with my colleague, and we're like, that's really weird. And then so we tried it, I don't know, like 2 or 3 times, and it was obviously something was going wrong that was wrong, And so we stopped, and we just went on to something else for a while, and then after break, we did that movement again, and it was perfect, right? And I was like, oh, that's really great. Well, she said, yeah, Mike's doing it. Our first trombone player was playing that solo. And as it turned out, what it was that the guy that was playing second was at the beginnings of I guess dementia problems or something.
It's awful.
But it was awful to have it happen so publicly.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. It's like you just never know.
It's like, yeah, you don't know what's going on,
so
and you
one
don't.
thing, one thing, like Hannah's violin teacher is in the Phoenix Symphony, and she said that one day they were on a run out somewhere, and somebody in the string section had played in a rest out loud, like there's a big rest and you accidentally play, and then on the bus they were like, who did that? It was so-and-so, it was so-and-so, and she told them, don't talk about who it was, because next time it'll be you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I wanted to say, that oboe player. Like next time it's going to be you, and I'm going to have to go listen to a piece and see how it's supposed to go because you messed it up. Like how rude. I was so upset. Awful. Okay, so that's my story, my other story.
And I was gonna say, I had a friend in the symphony who always around this time of year would post this meme or something, or he had I don't know if he had a T-shirt or something, a sweatshirt, but that said, "Bassoon, it will be Christmas."
I have that. Rachel gave me that T-shirt. I meant to wear it today, but soon it will be Christmas Day. It's very funny. I'll wear it next week. So thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Make sure you enter our giveaway.
Yes.
And there's
Goodbye.
Rogue. Hi, Rogue.
Goodbye.
Hi, Rogue. Baby.
Hey, hello, puppy dog.
You're so silly, dog. You look like Santa with your beard.
The other day yesterday that we were sitting watching television, and I turn around and her face is right here. I was like, ah!
You're so silly, dog.
You're so silly, puppy.
Okay, bye. Say bye.
Okay, bye. Say bye. Say bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.